Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here on our industry stage at Formnext 2023 to another exciting panel with the title Challenges and Opportunities. But in this case, we are not going to dive into new possibilities in manufacturing, or possibly, yes, opportunities for new application or challenges for startups from a financial point of view, or even current crisis and their effects. We want to look at a factor that is currently the most discussed topic, not only in additive manufacturing, but in all sectors and industries. The factor is the most important resource in our industry and is more complex than ever before. We are talking about the human factor, and of course, we want to look at its importance in the current situation, especially on today's Formnext Career Day. We have been able to attract experts for our panel who can not only give us an overview of the status and measures, but also of the opportunities that arise of this situation. So I would like to welcome here on stage this excellent lineup being with me on stage. First, Dr. Irene Skibinski, Project Manager at VDMA. Irene, good to have you here on stage. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you.
Then to my left, Mr. Gustavo Melo, Research Associate at the RWTH Aachen University. I trained this a lot, Gustavo, believe me. Chair for Digital Additive Production. Good to have you here, Gustavo.
Thank you, Sven.
And then we have Hans-Alfred Bräuninger, who is owner of Bräuninger Management Consulting, a lot of international experience as well here in the podium. And then last but not least, Adrian Betz, who is Group Manager for Research Additive Manufacturing at SKZ, KFE GmbH. Also very difficult.
Long name, yeah.
So nice to have you all here. Irene, let's start with you. I mean, talking about missing skilled workforce is like really very modern and fashion right now, because it's one of our major problems. And it's so what is your status at the VDMA? Because you did this report on the, let's say, on the outlook in the industry, and you have a lot of members, as we heard this morning from Marcus as well. Are they all pessimistic now? Is that the overall mood in the industry?
You mean pessimistic about
the
workforce?
Yeah.
Well, pessimism might be a bit too strong, but they for sure feel that it's important that we do something in this field. So our members see that this will be very important in the future. Now, 1/6 in every of our member companies say there's a lack of skilled workers, but that will be more in the future. It has doubled in the past, so we see an increase of importance, and therefore it is one of our focus topics of our working group, Additive Manufacturing within VDMA.
Perfect. Let's get back to this later, because then we want to know about your work and what you're actually doing. Adrian, I mean, SKZ offers training and education additive manufacturing right from the start. So if we look at the current economic situation and the lack of skilled workflow, you must be having demand like crazy on education and training. What is the current situation?
So it's difficult. So because of the economic situation, we have a big influence on the demand, of course. So imagine companies have a financial demanding situation, and then on the one hand, they tend to cut their budgets or reduce their budgets in training and education and in research and development. Those are the main points they tend to reduce. But on the other hand, when they have free capacity in their workforce, and because they have no orders, they send them to training. So as we work really close with the industry, we see both of these effects coming together. But at the moment, we see a slight decrease in the demand because of this challenging situation worldwide.
So cost cutting, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, we have the big demand, and on the other side we have cost cutting hindering, by the way, executing the trainings. Incredible. Hans, I mean, needless to say that you have a long experience in additive manufacturing. You are getting across the world consulting a lot of companies. So What do you say? Is it a problem in additive manufacturing, and is it losing a little bit of its appeal due to the lack of skilled workforce? Is that an issue that affects the industry not only, but also on the attractiveness?
I would say it's a small industry. It's a 3D printing industry. It's maybe $20 million, and this is. Volkswagen is spending into e-mobility the double amount of the total market size of 3D printing. And therefore, all the people who are working here in 3D printing, it's quite kind of a big family. If you come every year to Formnext, you know a lot of friends. So I think it's attractive because we are a very special industry.
Very good. Gustavo, I liked your approach very much at RWTH because you worked intensively in a study on the core competences needed in our industry. How did you approach this, and what is the summary of what is the result of the study?
Yeah, it's a good question, Sven. It's actually connecting what they said, because the industry actually is the one that gives us the highlight, what should be then needed for the education. So we use two approach combined. From one side, we use like qualitative data, so via interview and surveys, and also discussion panels with the industry partners, with more than 20 partners from the industry. But on the other side, we combine with quantitative data. So we use especially LinkedIn and other job portals. So we screen more than 10,000 job positions and analyze that via machine learning to exactly extract and combine with the other one what are the needed skills. Based on this analysis that we did there in the past, we could identify 4 big areas. First, technical skills. So for example, for design for EM, as well as understanding of technology and material. Second, soft skills. The major one mentioned at that time was the openness for innovation. And you can see here how important is the connection with partners for this ecosystem, right? Third one is regarding digital skills, that we go more and more in digitalization of additive manufacturing. We can see now that play a key role, so about the programming language, about the use of software for simulation. And last but not least is the new, I'll say, vogue now is the sustainability aspect. So we call here green skills. So how to analyze additive manufacturing by the perspective of sustainability. So how sustainable AM is, how we can identify the hotspots that we can address AM to be more sustainable and support also the industry in a more sustainable way.
You know what question came to my mind directly after I read the results of the study is how selectable, let's put it that way, can we be right now? I mean, you know, there are these 4 core fields that you are tackling that you need to have today, but as we do have a lack of skilled workforce, can we be that selectable or that choosable in terms of the workforce we have, or is the expectation going down in terms of what qualification you could find?
Interesting to see that the job positions are growing.
Okay.
There was a drop actually during the pandemics, and then we saw a lot of possibilities to train people during layoffs, and now we see more and more demanding of people in the field of additive manufacturing. The interesting thing of the study is that we can kind of select the area of expertise. So it means not necessarily will be the same in German, in US. Maybe we can also kind of cut and see what is the demand of the industry in the surrounding, and from that on build up training opportunities for the industry in the surrounding. So we kind of try to spread this training opportunity and training offers to local schools or local universities.
The question is, what kind of training offer? Irena, we discussed it up front. So we have either the opportunity to invest in further education, so current education of people in the industry or in the manufacturing field, like mechanics, engineers, etc., to get more, let's say, capable of AM tools that you need. We could start very early at school, or we can spend a lot of money and focus on university education. What would be the focus, and what is currently the trend?
Well, we see initiatives in all the 3 stages of education, and I think it's important to do everything. So start early and then have a very good education in high school and university. Our member companies decided that we want to focus on further education because this brings more short-term results. because they have their workforce and have to change a mindset into an additive mindset in a quite short amount of time. And therefore, at the moment, the focus for us is on further education, but we keep all the other education in mind, and we know it's important.
Was funny because up front I talked to Frank, who was just presenting his speech, and they invest heavily in the Lichtenfels area in the early school phase, really like grammar school. They start showing them AM and what is feasible. They print chocolate together. Don't get me wrong, it might not help immediately, but it's a really good way in order to attract the people outside at a very early stage. But as Irene said, we need short-term solution. And now we come to the question, how can we empower people to develop an AM mindset so that not everybody goes into traditional production? Is that something, Gustavo, you're working at RWH as well?
So pandemic was like a way to push digital education, and we definitely see a way of improving the way of learning for the future and for the next generation. Using digital tools. So from one side, from the RWH, we're now focusing a lot with augmented reality and virtual reality, especially for design for AM. We have some apps and some development tools that we created that increased actually the creativity compared to the traditional methods of training. So that was one of the major areas that we're focused right now to change this mindset. Can be used for students, but also in the main industry as the opportunity for the industry sector and also for the engineers as well. So that
very good.
Maybe, Sven, I would say the industry is really very interesting because we have more than 60 different technologies in 3D printing, and there is really a big change. And we are also in a big restructuring phase of the whole industry. There was maybe Nano Dimension wanted to take over Stratasys. 3D systems wanted to go together with Stratasys. It's very interesting what happens right now in the industry, and also it's this. We have to condense these 60 technologies. They will not stay forever. And we have printing of electronics. We have printing of meat. We have printing of tablets in the pharmaceutical industry. There are so many different new fields which are really attractive for younger people if you join the industry.
But do you mean by saying that the workforce needs to be more flexible in this regard?
Yes.
Or do you mean that they need to focus on the main processing techniques? And then
I wanted to say it's a really interesting industry where we are in with a lot of opportunities. If somebody has just an FDM printer, he does not think that sometimes we will print meat, because it will come that we will print meat because we have not enough animals to feed all mankind. So there are really interesting 3D printing fields coming out on the horizon for the future.
Yeah, but on the other side, that's what I perceive. So I go to university, let's say I'm already at that stage, and I need to decide whether to go to a big automotive producer, because it's still one of the most important industries we have, or I decide to go into a small startup or in, let's say, a well-established company in the additive manufacturing world. I mean, where to decide? I mean, I would look on location, on salary, etc., point like this, and probably I say, let's start first in the traditional methodology in order to get used to that, and then switch over to AM. So we are already in a competition between, let's say, the classical approach and our approach. So, Adrian, this leads me to you again. So there's education, traditional education and training. What else are you offering, and what further opportunities we have to get people to our industry, educational-wise?
So we love to do face-to-face training, because then you can interact with the people, the trainer, with the trainees, so to say. But on the other hand, nowadays you have so many possibilities, digital possibilities. So during the pandemic, we started to do online training. We built a studio, and there was a trainer, so you can interact with them. But you can sit at home and have your sample parts there, and you have your booklet with all the information in there. Yeah. But what's more interesting, last year we started to do web-based trainings together with EOS on the basic principles of additive manufacturing, what are the advantages and disadvantages, and so on. But you have the chance with these digital things to be modular, to tailor them to the specific needs of each individual. And maybe even recently I saw a TED talk that was quite eye-opening for me. They said we need to do, we need to get learning as addictive as social media.
Yeah.
You know, people are scrolling through Instagram and TikTok, and they need to get the information as well. They need to be low, easy entry, so to say, not low level, but easy entry, and then maybe we get over the leap towards getting people excited for AM. But to be honest, it's pretty easy to get excited for AM. I mean, all the people here are, and I always say like AM is more sexy, and to my colleagues, it's more sexy than injection molding, you know.
Gustavo, sorry.
Yeah, just adding a point here for Adrian. Definitely, this is one of the trends of education when we see for digital education. We try to break down the knowledge in small nuggets that you can kind of modularize, adapt for the individual needs, but also for the company needs.
Right.
So they have like a push for both sides here, so then we can combine that and deliver something really oriented for the individual working in that industry. That's the perfect, I would say, solution nowadays. And more, that's the trend that I see. That's why we push a lot. Digital education, for sure, combined with on-site, but support by digital, that you can deliver that and can be applied on the job right after. Yeah? So this is I think this is the major issue or the major challenge that we have with the industry. They would like to have like a return right away they always check the return of investment of the train. So.
But there are current examples where they do it in a more generic way. I, by the way, consulting a startup right now that is offering learning nuggets, 4 minutes long. They are changing now to 1 minute long because this is the preferred length of learning nuggets. And they combine it with a platform for the companies who can pay money in order to be present. So to bring the ones that are seeking for knowledge directly together with the companies that are seeking for skilled workforce. So to have this would be the perfect combination. But Irene, what kind of programs are you offering on initiatives you are starting from the BND?
So one thing that we did was that we looked at all the further education offerings in Germany because we saw that it's quite confusing and made one big overview of what is offered as further education in Germany. Where it's easy to filter for a target group, for example. So am I a machine operator? And then I can filter for machine operator and see what courses are offered for my target group. Or I can choose how long do I want to have my training to be. Do I want to the training to be like 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 3 weeks, and even 2 semesters is possible. So I think we already have a very good further education offered. We just have to push it into everybody's mind to go into this field.
You mentioned an interesting point. I just read an article of an older project launched by Fraunhofer where they wanted to standardize the education. Because this is something, if I look into it, and I need to from time to time gain more knowledge, as Hans, you probably do as well, yeah?
Yes.
So you have this very diverse offer and you don't know exactly what is the quality of SKZ or VDMA or RWH. I mean, you want to compare these programs and those filters are very good. But on the other side, is there any initiative going on in order to make really standardized programs, Adrian? Or?
Yeah, when I'm right, MGA, the Mobility Goes Additive, had a working group working on education, and they put together a curriculum for additive manufacturing for different roles. So you have the operator, and I think you have the AM designer in there, and they broke them down into individual modules, so we can tackle, maybe use it as a blueprint. I don't know.
Hopefully.
But that's one thing.
If
So I think there are
I don't know.
just go ahead.
Sorry, there are multiple initiatives, and I think we just have to figure out which way to go. So which one? So there are multiple things that are going on, and
the problem is in Germany we have the IHKs, the trade associations, so to say, and sometimes they need to be pushed further on because sometimes they are a little slow, but you need these guys to get it to the industry, and that's accepted by the industry.
Maybe some overall view on the industry. In 2D printing, you have just two technologies. You have laser and inkjet. And this is a very stable industry. Nothing happens there anymore. And in 3D printing, you have this huge amount of different technologies, and you really have the restructuring of the industry. So I think it's much more thrilling to join an industry who is in a restructuring phase where really a lot is going to happen. So maybe we also can motivate people to join our industry because there are so many leverage points what can happen here.
Just come up to the point of standardization. As Irene said, there's a lot of initiatives that trying to organize and I would say standardize. I would always try to offer and try to push it towards standardization norms. So ISO STM, use that as a reference. We do have there internally a group working on this definition of the profile for operator, for designer that will come in the future. So this is my point of view, the way that you combine all of those. Because we nowadays have initiatives in German level, we have in European level, we have in the US. So when you try to combine worldwide, you kind of have a general overview, and they definitely, we're going to break down in a sector in German national, for example, here IHK, they have like their, I would say, power, and they are also responsibility within the national sector. Yeah? As in Brazil will be another ones, and so on and so forth. Yeah? But the point is, for me, from one side, this is standardization, the second is the monitoring. As Hans just said, technology is evolving. There are some technologies already standardized, let's put like that, more, I would say, mature, but coming more and more new. Boiler jetting, now inkjet, and so on and so forth. You appear new ones within the coming years. And the point for us is how to keep that track, how to see if the technology is enough mature,
and to adopt
and then to adopt that into the education.
Absolutely.
So that's I would say the scrolling of Instagram in a way that you can create those offers up to date and to the needs that we're going to have in this industry in the future.
But connecting the 1 minute approach, let's get back to the 1 minute approach, together with Hans, your international experience, because let's get into social media and let's offer educational training via Instagram in a 1 minute format that would make it global instantly. So Hans, you travel a lot. You have been recently on a really large journey in Israel and visiting companies there. How do you perceive this lack of skilled workforce abroad, and what are the other countries doing, or the other companies, let's put it that way?
I think they are more ahead in the mindset of additive manufacturing. And I'm feeling here in Germany that we are lacking a little bit the spirit for AM. So that's one of the points I would tackle.
But by the way, this is super interesting. If we look yesterday, we had Panta from Equinor, from the Nordics. She was presenting about the AM mindset. That was quite amazing because she was not talking about what are the opportunities right now inside the company. She said the clear challenge is to change the mindset to an AM thinking. And the same topic was presented today by Nick from Boeing, basically. He said we need to change the people's mindset into a more AM-driven thing. How is that happening? I mean, you do it at university, I assume. How much do you push the people into AM, Gustavo? Be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the students that come to us, they definitely are quite interested into additive manufacturing. They already have like 3D print at home, so they already a fan. They would like to join and see an industrial use case. Yeah? I think the major challenge now, this change of mentality, is rather the ones that are already being exposed to the conventional design. So those in industry. So those are this mindset of changing. That's the tricky one. What we have approached is like more problem-based learning. So we have a case, or have like a challenge from the industry, and then you use that as a background for the students as well, the employees, be supported by our researchers to develop. So then with that, we started to develop from one side the product, but also the knowledge needed to be sustainable in the industry.
And how to solve it, basically.
So this is the way that we see as a way to solve it, this issue of mindset change, and also the appeal for the industry here. We are building up a new lecture in the future. So coming for next year, we'd like to exactly use those industrial use cases in different sectors, from automotive, aerospace, even consumer goods. Offer that for our students. They kind of propose solutions. We can do it like a small hackathons, 1 to 2 days, but also in the long-term months during the semester. And then at the end, we have like an offer position at the company, for example, as a prize. So this is a way that you can build up the knowledge already within our house, with your use case, and there those guys will be at your company at this point.
Taking this point, which would be a midterm, let's call it midterm solution. Irene, I mean, you asked the VDMA members about their mood and how they see the industry. And there was, as Frank mentioned this morning, together with Marcus, there were some question also on how do you see the international environment, like China, for example. Isn't there a threat? I mean, we have now German participants, don't get me wrong, but we are representing a country with, as we already seen, quite a few problems in the skilled workforce and how to approach it. But how do you see the threat of young students or young engineers from Germany going abroad, because there's more business going on, there's more action, they're all capable of speaking English. Is there a threat, and do the VDMA members see that threat?
I'm not sure about that. So I think they see, maybe a little bit, they see a threat that they lose a workforce because it's more attractive somewhere else, but it can also be more attractive in another area in Germany or in Europe. So it's important for our member companies to be attractive to the workforce and to show a clear career path is for sure one of the points that makes companies attractive for young people, and to have a good working environment. And I think also there, and now we talked about mindset, the companies have to change their mindset to a new generation of workforce.
I think we also have to see that there is internationally going really a lot on. China is making pressure on AM. We lost the solar industry to China. And China wants now to enter the AM industry. And this has nothing to do now with the only German situation, but we must see that there is international pressure coming up. And we must really be aware that not we lose our good market position in AM for the German companies. So it's important.
I must admit, I'm more neutral on that, although I have 2 children who want to raise up in this country, probably, but I'm really on a more market-oriented international focus. So, Adrian, getting back to you regarding this topic, how do you see, let's say, the attractiveness of the companies, because you work together with a lot of companies that are approaching you and asking for support there. Do the companies, as Irene said, really understood the problem and that they should make themselves more attractive? Are they developing those career paths for additive?
It's hard.
I rarely see it, so this is
it's hard to say because the whole workforce market is changing from employer to employee market. So because we have the lack of skilled labor, the employees can look at the companies and really choose what company they want to work for. So I guess companies start to feel, already feeling that and adjusting therefore. But what you said with the attractiveness, we are all speaking English. We are not our natural language, but so it's always an opportunity as well for students from the States or from China to come to Germany to work. And I think companies are getting more open for an international workforce as well, because people are speaking English on everyday basis. So it's getting better and better for them. And education-wise, you can see in the States, for example, when you study, you're in debt, and so they're used to education is costly. And in Germany, there's sometimes more like, okay, education needs to be free. And that's what we see in our trainings or in our training programs.
That could be a competitive advantage for us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a foreigner, I can say here, originally from Brazil, living here in Germany, and definitely what I see internationalization is rather an opportunity instead of a challenge or a threat.
Yeah.
Definitely see from both sides. Companies in Germany as well, even we can say research institutes going international, Fraunhofer, for example. So companies, German companies, going more and more in broad internationalization. So this is an opportunity for English speaking or also students from abroad. And on the other side, people come to Germany because they speak English, and Germany is getting more and more open to international workforce since there is a lack of those skilled workforce. In our group itself, there's a lot of students, even from China, from India. They're in a high level of competitiveness compared here, and at the end, working here in the German market afterwards. Me, myself, come from Brazil, bring also my background, bring also my network from there. I do acquisitions at DAP regarding also my network in the past. So a lot of oil and gas, a lot of steel making. So this is also an important, I would say, aspect that companies should see as an international capability or international opportunity to use. So
Very good.
And as we're working with a lot of small and medium-sized companies, they are getting the point as well. So it's not only the big players who are seeing it, but also the small and medium-sized.
So let's quickly talk a little bit about money. We haven't talked about money yet. Yeah. So I have talked to a few of the exhibitors here, companies that I know for years, and I rather hear that they are setting staff off. So they're quitting with a part of their workforce due to the current economic situation. So how do you perceive that worldwide? I mean, you are the one that is really getting in touch with a lot of companies, because I remember in our briefing we talked a bit about the investment and economic situation. How is that affecting the whole topic? Are we switching back to an, let's say, employer market again?
Well, if you walk through the halls here at Formnext, I would say that 60–70% of the exhibitors do not earn money in 3D printing. If you look in the balance sheets, let's say Desktop Metal, very critical 3D systems, they are losing money. So the industry really must restructure. And then if the industry earns more money, then there will be more growth. But right now, a lot of companies is losing money, or the business is subsidized. Let's say there are some real big AM companies who have another big business outside AM, and they are subsidizing this AM business. And this is, I can tell you a lot of cases where it's like it. So we must really become the AM industry more profitable, and then we can hire more people.
This is really working against each other, in my opinion. Oh, Irene, what do you think? It's not the way we wanted, right?
Well, our members say that, well, they want to teach their existing staff. So it's maybe for them it's also about hiring new people, but it's about changing the mindset to an additive mindset of an existing workforce. I think with this in mind, you can, for example, slowly grow. If you always have to educate your workforce for.
There's still enough room for getting the own workforce to a certain point before needing to hire people. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and we don't. I'm sure we don't have enough people with like highly skilled workers with an AM knowledge for all the positions that will come. So we have to educate the existing workforce.
Adrian, based on what Irene said, let's get a little bit more concrete, because we're always talking about students and stuff like that. What are the current positions, in your opinion? If you don't have data, you just have an educated guess. What are the skill levels we are really looking for? Is it more like somebody who's able to operate the machine? Is it more like an engineer designing for AM? Is it more like on the economic side, like probably marketing or sales might be also a lack there? Where do you see the lack most?
So I need to make an educated guess, and
Okay.
highly depends on which situation your company is in. So when you first started with AM, you need to start with the designers to get into additive manufacturing, and then they can mostly operate the printers as well. But when you're starting to scale up your production and you already have your products that are additive manufactured, you need more on the worker side. And then if you do it like a Daimler Truck with a digital warehouse, you need purchasing as well. You need your logistics as well. So it's really the whole value chain inside of your company you need. So it's really highly dependent on which stage of adaptation you're.
It's really dependent on the stage of adoption. It's also kind of the results of the study that we did with the interviews, and they focus a lot the business case evaluation. So because at the end we talk about money here, right? So at the end,
Unfortunately.
I mean, this is driving our model capitalism. So let's talk about that, and then to also drive because at the end, what we training people is training people get skilled, they could work better, and they bring profit for the company. However, this curve is so long, and then you always have this difficulty to bring it for the future into the present and show the value, right? So that's why, from my point of view, and then we definitely see this focus on business case assessment as one opportunity of training that could go and deep dive on that, because then you have like the return right away. So then you see it how we can do and then get the profit right away.
So basically, you not only need engineers in the future, but also people who can calculate the
business
effect of-
opportunities,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I think the biggest threat is to do nothing.
Yeah.
Just
For sure.
see.
Irene?
We asked our member companies what they need, and the answer was, so the top two answers were machine operator and design.
Very
Designers
interesting.
or development.
Talking about, that's a good point, Irene. Talking about design, I listened carefully to the speech of Nick, because there were some threatening sentences in it. If you heard it, you might recognize it. So he was talking heavily about AI. So we are talking always about AI as a help for the future. I'm actually heavily using AI, to be honest, already for my work, but it should solve some of the issues we have with our lack of skilled workforce, because some of the tasks could potentially be done by AI. For example, design for AM, there are a lot of software companies offering AI solutions that are calculating and constructing parts based on AI. How do you see the development of AI in our industry, and how much of a help is it in the lack of skilled workforce?
Yeah, we can put AI together with digitalization. If you put AI as a threatening, I think the world will collapse. So again, it's a new trend. It's a new wave that's coming. We should use that as a support assistant, as an opportunity.
Yep.
So I do believe that AI will be more and more present in our work, not only for design. So for example, there we can give it as an assistant. We have some projects in the future as well that was in the development the last years. So you have like this design wizard, you have some assistant during the design phase. So this is something that not necessarily the designer will have that in hand. So you're augmenting the intelligence by AI. So this is my I would say perspective of AI. If you go to production, so not necessarily the operator will be only there looking for the machine, try to see the defect, but you can already analyze all the data that's not human possible to be analyzed by human, let's say 100%, or will take a lot of time. You use AI to give at least hotspots that you should deep dive. So again, AI comes here as a tool. So and then we have to adapt. The workforce should be adapt. It's not only for AM only. It's the whole industry is already been touched by AI, and then this. I would say also let the other panelists to say something. I think Adrian is already.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
AI tools it's a tool, but you need someone to swing the hammer, so to say. It's supportive in the most cases, and it's more like an opportunity to make us more productive, in my point of view.
Hans, from your point of view, are all the companies already focusing on AI?
I think I would see it on two levels. If you see it on the machine level, then you can optimize really some processes with AI. This has nothing to do with design or design capabilities. And on the other level, you really can assist the designers with AI. So you must distinguish here. So with AI, you really can increase the overall effectiveness of the machine, of the hardware.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm coming from a totally different point, and I'm more of the opinion. I see the progress of AI of the last 6 months. We're not talking about years at all, just the last 6 months. I see it really a little bit faster than you probably. I see the assistive part of it, but I see also the speed of development in AI to a point where you probably can really replace some functions in the whole.
Do you have an example?
I mean,
You can share with us. Yeah.
I mean, I'm coming from the training and consulting sector, for example. If you go into a conception of a training, you basically don't need the 2 or 3 days you needed in the past. You need like 15 minutes, basically. Yeah. So as it has been done several times before, even the new combination of content is being produced in seconds. It's really amazing. And it's just an assumption, okay? I see the development. And one thing that is then having to do with our topic today, it's a question of education as well. Because not only that you need to learn how is AM working, you don't need to learn how is the machine working, you need to learn how to operate with AI.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes.
So,
Definitely. I mean, it's a point of the digital skills. Yeah. So talk about digital literacy, people how to treat the data, see if the data is right and high quality. We always call it in the field of AI, shit in, shit out. So it means take a look at your data first, right? This is the major point. So these are kind of skills that you have to teach on that. And other aspects of, I would say, even regarding the data privacy, what kind of data we are using that, the importance of the data, where this data is stored. That time was not that, okay, the data is there, nobody was taking care, but now we can see that data is the new gold, and then people are getting more and more profit from data. So, and data is usually analyzed more and more by AI. So it's kind of those skills that comes along, and that people should take into consideration if they're starting using it.
I mean, it will be amazing to see if it's rather hindering us in order to develop ourselves because of everybody's scared of data protection. And I can say for myself, I'm always like skeptical in giving in data because I know already once I give it in, I present it to the world or give it to the world. It's like a gift for everyone. So there might be some like challenges and obstacles. But is that something that you consider already in your education? Because you can't say you're doing education right now, right, Adrian? Without considering an eye.
Of course we do, but we use it for our education programs. So we don't educate or train people in AI. That's not our main focus. But again, we use AI as a tool for our training programs.
So you explain how IA works on the machine level or something like that?
For example,
Okay.
when it's used in the machine, or
Okay.
we do research projects on AI as well. Of course, we have a whole working group dedicated to this topic.
Okay, let's talk at the final minutes a little bit about attractiveness and how to attract more people, because we have talked a lot about how to educate and etc. How can we, as I don't like to say the word industry because I think we are more technology than an industry, but in our technology, attract more people to get into that? Forget about the educational level, think about marketing here, how to get people inside our industry.
I would say one big point, career perspective. So you show, at least from my point of view, of our own academic side of it, giving the student this perspective of career, saying what we can see in the future, where you can work at, what are the opportunities that work, not only in one specific market. That's the cool stuff of additive manufacturing. It's one technology, but it's quite diverse and I would say horizontal. We can touch a lot of industries, so you can jump from aerospace, and now I'm going more and more to healthcare. So this is a cool stuff that all of the students think that they see value. So there's possibility to jump to another markets, but staying AM. So one I can definitely add here.
I would like to add that the AM, well, it's no industry, but we are a real big family in AM. It's a lot of possibilities in networking, what you have, and I don't know other technology where you have such a close network of really interesting people. So if you come every year to Formnext, you see a lot of people you have seen the year before, very international focus, and this I like it a lot. It's an extremely big chance for networking the industry of AI.
Very open, yeah.
Very open, and very international. It's really that opens your horizon if you are in AM.
Irene, what's your marketing asset?
Well, I wanted to say networking as well. So the people side of the discussion. So I think AM in general is really attractive, as we have said before. And I think we just have to show, with all the tools we have, how interesting the industry and the technology is and what is possible. And I think there will be much more possible in the future. So there's so much going on, and therefore, I think the advantage of additive manufacturing compared to other mechanical engineering technologies, for example, is that it's really attractive because it's innovative, it's changing quickly, and we are all here to learn and to educate us and discuss and work together. So I think we just have to bring that into the world.
Yeah, and that's why we're here at Formnext.
Yes.
Adrian, you have a quick one for us as well?
Yeah, getting back to Gustavo's point, I guess it's pretty easy to get fascinated by the technology, from microscopic parts to printing buildings, so to say. But we don't need just technical personnel. We need all kinds of people in our industry, in our technology, and so we just need to spread the word.
Oh,
that's awesome.
What a transition to my final close. Thank you for that.
Perfect.
That was awesome. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion also, we heard a lot of interesting point here in this panel. Not only pessimistic, that's what I like the most. Thank you for that, our panelists here. We have a lot of optimistic outlook, and I must admit we have one thing, and I want to tackle this really quickly for you at home at the live stream, but also for you in the audience. We get more and more on our to-do list. And I really want to stress on that point, because each and every year at Formnext, it's always inspiring, and we always get in touch with our family, let's put it that way. But really important is that we have a close look at our to-do list and start checking the boxes, but point by point, get people attracted into our industry or technology, however we want to call it. And there's so much potential for future growth. So I can only heavily invite you to follow up this to-do list. This was the panel for the morning. We have more exciting points to come after the lunch break. So I wish you 2 fantastic hours of lunch break. We will meet you back after the lunch. Enjoy your lunch also here in the audience, and see you right back after the lunch break. See you. Bye-bye.